Hi, I'm Brett Larkin. I post new yoga videos to YouTube every single week, and I'm now posting yoga classes for total yoga beginners every Tuesday. So if you're new to yoga or interested in learning, make sure to like and hit subscribe. So my first two poses that I like, and we'll look at me and then look at Murray, are plank and forearm plank, all right? So plank pose, shoulders over wrists, heels pressing back, legs zippered together. So especially when I'm doing this focusing on toning, I like to squeeze my inner thighs together. And then you want to make sure you're not here. This is where I see a lot of students. You really want to make sure your shoulders and hips are almost in the same line. And then you're curling your tailbone forward so you really draw your abs in. So this is a plank. And then you want to breathe in and out through the nose. And then forearm plank, similar, you're just down on your forearms. And again, you kind of see how my feet are kind of scooching back in space. You want to scooch your feet back in space so that, again, you're not up here with the hips too high or here with the hips too low. You're really just in that sweet spot. And then once again, squeeze the inner thighs together, squeeze the booty, draw the navel up and in, curl the tailbone forward, breathing in and out through the nose. These are two challenging postures that are going to turn your core on right away. So then we'll look at the next three, but why don't you take a look at those two, Murray, and see if they're targeting the area that you wanted me to target for you.
Okay. So,
so in your plank pose, beginners, spread your fingers wide, press down through your index finger, knuckle, and thumb, curl your toes under. Perfect. So this looks really good. Take your shoulders a little bit more over your wrists. There you go. Draw your navel up and in, curl your tailbone forward. Yep, so it's almost like you want to move your hips towards your chin. Think of that cue. And then breathe in and out through the nose. Your abs turning on?
oh yeah.
Okay, perfect. Drop it down now to your forearms. And try this at home. It's okay, you can lower to your knees and then drop to the forearms. Good, good. Now, your forearms are kind of behind your shoulders. So you need to do the scoochy thing I showed with my feet. Your feet actually might come off the mat. But it's okay to curl your toes under, take your feet back, or just readjust. Good job. And let's see, I think your hips need to lift a little bit more. Perfect. Now think of your hips moving towards your chin, tailbone lengthening towards your heels. We're here for 3. Spread your fingers, press down through the palms. 2, draw your abs up and in. Squeeze your inner thighs together, either energetically if they're not touching, or if they are touching, you can actually squeeze them together. Last breath. Good, lower down. Whew. So do those target the right section?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm going to show you more. So those were our first two. Third pose to target this region, which I'm going to lovingly call the solar plexus region, right? Instead of calling it belly fat, we're just going to call it solar plexus region of the body, is Navasana. This is Navasana boat pose. So if you're brand new to yoga, you can make sure your fingers are facing your seat, and you can actually do this pose with your hands on the ground. So draw your navel in, make sure you're on your sits bones so you're not like way back here or not up here, right? You're just balanced on your 2 sitting bones, and then you're gonna take your shins parallel to the floor. Draw your navel in, and you should feel the lower abs turn on. Now, if you feel comfortable here, you wanna increase the challenge, you can take one arm forward and then the other arms are actually balancing. And here's your Navasana. You can have the feet pointed or flexed or in that Barbie foot, as long as the legs are engaged. If you wanted to go even further still, straighten the legs. Yeah, and then you're in that like Pilates V sort of position. The thing I don't want you to do though is straighten the legs and then you like roll back and all your alignment gets wonky, right? When we're working with the abdominals, you can really get a deep workout, even keeping the hands on the floor, if you concentrate, use your breath, and keep pulling the abs down, back into the spine. So let's see what this one looks like for you. So now you try it at home, just like Murray is. So fingertips are actually gonna face your seat. So you're gonna wanna turn your hands this way. Beautiful, nice job. Soles of the feet on the floor. Okay, now find yourself on your 2 sits bones.
Yep.
And now squeeze your legs together.
Okay.
And bring the shins parallel to the mat. You feel your low abs turn on?
Yep.
Perfect. So take 3 deep breaths in and out through the nose. Nice. In and out through the nose. Really, really good. Beautiful. Last breath, and let it go down. We'll keep you as the example, and we'll show number 4, which is leg lifts. So you're gonna lie down on your back. So just lie down right from bow pose. Take the legs up at 90 degrees or as close to 90 degrees as you can. It's okay if the knees are bent. And one thing you can do is you can scoot your hands underneath your seat. Yes, I love doing that for beginners and even for myself because it can be very hard to keep your low back on the ground. And then from here, he can't straighten the, pretty close to straight. Flex the feet, and he's just gonna lower the legs and lift them back up. Nice. So it's an exhale to lower and an inhale to lift. So exhale, lower the legs down. Inhale, lift them back up. And I've seen it taught with the inhale and exhales in different ways, but I like this. Inhale up, exhale down, because you're working your abs on the way up and the way down. Now, ways you can modify this, if it's feeling like a lot, is you can take the legs not so far down, right? Because I'm guessing he feels an abdominal work, even just taking the legs to here, right? Yeah. So if you feel abdominal work here, there's no point in taking the heels all the way down because it's gonna start to make his low back arch off the ground, I'm guessing. Yeah. So it's like range isn't helping in this situation. So just take it as far as you can go without your low back kind of getting involved and leaving the mat and coming up. Yep, and then the knees can stay bent. And just do 2 more. Nice. And then come on up. So did you feel that one in the area we're trying to target?
Yes.
And I'll show that on me too. And let's get really close on my low back because this is a really important detail that I want to make sure people understand at home. So if you're doing leg lifts, because leg lifts are great, but we don't want to strain the low back ever. So what you do is you take the hands underneath the seat. Now, if we look at my low back, and maybe I can cheat a little bit this way. If we look at my low back, the low back has a natural little bit of a curve, yeah? So what we don't want is that when I lower my legs for the low back to arch like this off the mat. Do you see how it popped up?
Yes.
We want the low back to stay neutral. And neutral in this case should just mean it's like you could put, I like to think of like a piece of paper could fit under here, but not a book.
Yep.
Piece of paper, not a paperback, right? So what I had Murray do and what I'll show here is putting the hands underneath the seat is really gonna help keep the low back from popping up. And we can see, I'll keep my hand out so the camera can see, but if I lower too far down, look what happens even for me. The low back, do you see how it's arching off the floor? So in that case, I either need to put my hand back or I just need to modify the range of motion, right? So I just don't lower down as far. If I lower down and I notice this happening, I've lost the abdominal work. I'm potentially straining and hurting my low back. And basically, we're no longer coming from a place of service and taking care of our bodies. So the next and last pose, number 5, is Murray, sit with me. Just any comfortable way. Is it comfortable for you to sit on the ground?
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. So this is actually a breathing technique, what we call in yoga pranayama, just simply means a breath technique. And I love doing this at the end of the 4 postures I just showed you because the 4 postures I just showed are really going to turn on the core, right?
Yes.
You felt that solar plexus area turn on. And then this is going to take the work even deeper. It's called breath of fire. So what you do is you take your hand to your navel and we're just going to pant like a dog. So for the beginning part, just stick your tongue out. Stick your tongue way out of your body and I want you to feel your belly button moving. Now I think what you're doing, and this is common with beginners, is it's coming more from the head and the mouth. I want you to think of it coming from the navel. So that's why your hand is here. You want to feel when you pant. Yes. Okay. So do a couple more. So we'll do some together. And just think of exhaling. Don't inhale. Perfect. Now seal the lips. We're going to do the same thing, exhaling through the nose. Don't inhale. Just keep exhaling through the nose and feel your belly button initiate the movement. How's that feel? Do you feel
Yeah, you can definitely feel your stomach working out.
Your stomach working.
In a very different way, though.
Very different way. It's working the very deepest abs, the transverse abdominis, which are the deepest layer. And if we want to get close on my stomach, I'll even volunteer and show how much your navel's snapping. So ideally, it looks something like this.
Oh, wow.
That's the movement that you're going for. That much of, I call it like really trying to make the belly dance, snapping the navel back into the spine. But it helps to do it through the mouth first, like that panting like a dog, and then seal the lips, then do the nose. And especially if you do an ab workout beforehand, this is gonna like supercharge by working the muscles that you just worked even harder. What questions do you have about these poses that we just did?
Is there one that you should be doing? Should you be doing a few of each?
Well, that's great. Let's talk about timing and intervals. I think that's good. Because when you're a beginner, and I see this happen, it's like, comment yes if this has ever happened to you, that you've done a workout, you gotten excited, and you went all in, hardcore, and you did it for a really long time, and then the next day you were so sore you couldn't move, couldn't get out of bed, and then you didn't exercise for like a week.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Okay. So if you've ever done that, put yes. I have too. We've all been there. But right, that's not in service of your body, because then you ended up not exercising for a week.
Yeah, right? That's true.
And you totally overdid it. You really kind of did more bad than good. So if you want to focus on this area that we're lovingly calling the solar plexus area, we want to start gradual and slowly start working our way up. So with the first two poses, plank and forearm plank, remember?
Right.
You could start holding those for 20 seconds. So you could set a timer on your phone, hold plank for 20 seconds, hold forearm plank for 20 seconds. Do that for a week. The next week, 30 seconds.
Okay.
Right? Next week, 40 seconds, 50. And I think a great goal for a beginner is to be able to hold for a minute.
Yep. That would be a great goal for me.
That's a great goal. That's a great goal. Okay, let's talk about the other posture, Navasana. This one, right? The boat pose, or having the arms. Same thing. Hold a couple breaths. I think for that one, it's like, I think counting to maybe 10 or 30 or using that same timer is good. Working up to a minute is what you want. And then same thing for the leg lifts, right? Just start, maybe do 10.
Yep.
Then maybe do 20, then maybe do 30. Again, if you just want to use a timer, start 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, up to a minute. And then same with the breath of fire, right? Just get comfortable with it. Ideally, a breath of fire, you want to work up to doing 3 minutes.
Okay.
So that's a lot. So just maybe start with 30 seconds,
Yep.
then a minute 32. So we can write up in the description of this video, if you want to expand the description box below, what I suggest if you're totally new, like you're not working out right now at all, the reps and the seconds I suggest. What other questions do you have?
Do you know, as you're making the comments, I would love to know how many you can do when you start and how that progresses.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to compare that to me. And then everyone can compare how much can I do and where's it going.
Awesome. So set goals, see how you do, and let us know your questions and how you're doing in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video.
See you then.
Hey, if you like this video, you are going to love my free Pure Beginner Master the Basics yoga class. Not only do I cover the top 10 yoga poses you're most likely to encounter as a beginner, but I give you a downloadable cheat sheet showing you exactly how to do each of these moves so you know you're doing them correctly. Let's banish the fear and confusion of doing it wrong. Let's master the basics together. Go to BrettLarkin.com/beginner for your free download, and I'll see you on the mat. Namaste.